Hello, today we're going to be having a look at the asteroid goddess Juno. Currently in our sky, Juno is at the same degree as the lunar north node. Over the past few days, we also had Venus transiting that same area, which brought a lot more attention to the asteroid goddess Juno. So I've had a lot of questions in my Instagram, Messenger, and in Telegram. So I decided to come and make a video about Juno. So let's start off by looking at the Greek mythology of Hera, who is going to be our original archetype. Well, not original because there is pre-Greco-Roman imagery for Juno, but this Hera is the most often referenced. So Venus, Aphrodite, and Hera are similar in that they are well-known goddesses that have to do with love and relationship. While Venus Aphrodite ends up not being faithful to her husband Hephaestus, and so we have that as a view of some of the potential for relationship and marriage and fidelity. And then we have Hera, who, while her husband was unfaithful, she is fiercely committed to staying faithful. So with the archetype of Juno, we have fidelity, we have wealth. Because of the shared resources, she was able to remain in the throne as the queen and, still have the abundance of the resources. So there's generating wealth, maintaining wealth, staying committed in partnership, putting the fidelity and the faith in the relationship, fiercely committed. So we have that imagery with Juno, and then, so that's some of that. And then we'll go into some of the other aspects. So here's a question. What does Juno mean on my chart? That's the most of what I've heard. What does it mean on my chart? So this is what it means. And it's not quite like you can get a this means that type of, astrology doesn't work like that. So it's going to be, what does it mean for you is going to be dependent upon what house is Juno in on your chart, what planetary aspects is Juno conjunct something, is it at a 120 with another planet, what sign is Juno in for you, and that's mainly going to be what is the overall intention of your chart. And then Juno is going to tell you more about your specific intentions for committed partnership. What are you fiercely committed to? In which ways do you wish to be seen in your most deeply committed partnerships? What do you want? What do you expect from partnership? What do you cultivate in partnership? What do you fear from partnerships? So we also get into what do you want? What do you fear? What do you value in partnerships? What do you bring to partnerships? What do you expect from partnerships? So those are some of the themes. Oh, and we have a chart. So let's go ahead and do a screen share so we can get some actual images to look at. Okay, so here is the chart of somebody who is a part of my monthly membership, and she has agreed to letting us use her chart as an example. She has a very prominent Juno, which I find that to be really helpful when we're using chart examples. So this circle represents the Earth. This X represents us on Earth. And then this is a map of the sky of the moment this person was born. So we're going to be looking at Juno, and as you can see, she has Juno on the midheaven. The midheaven is at 6 degrees of Aries. Juno is at 5 degrees of Aries. So just by that, with that says so much. This is one of the most prominent features of the person's chart, especially in the sense of how they are seen out in the world. The midheaven is our contribution to the world. It was what was highest peaking in the sky at the moment we were born. And I'm pausing because I recently received teaching from a book that I'm reading of a translated text from ancient Egypt, which explains to us how north is actually, never mind, I'm not going to get into that. It's changing my reference point. So basically in the book, it tells us that water flowed from the north to the south, and they imagined, or not imagined, but they used the north as the way that I had always considered the south to be. So they're flip-flopped. And then I further received more teachings from astronomy that was proving the fact of what the book was saying. And so my visual of looking at the chart is kind of tempted to like flip-flop. So that was what that pause was about. And I will discuss that further on the central channel for people who are part of that membership. So we're diving deep into the astrological waters. So the midheaven, the highest peak in the sky. So Juno on the midheaven is going to say that this person is, there's so many things. The first one is that the person will be married to their work. That the person will have their most valuable relationships will be found in the public eye. So going to events, there's like an emphasis on who their partner is, will very much define who they are in the public eye. If you're single, then it is more about I'm married to my work. And if this were my chart, I'd be thinking about how can I expand my work, or not my work, but the way that I'm seen in public. I would be thinking about going to different types of events. So because this is in Aries, there's a fierce independence with it also. So fiercely independent, married to their career, married to their view. Oh, no, hold on, not their view, but the way people view them. So there can also be a sort of paranoia about how do people see me? And because I didn't get into all the what signifies the relationship with Juno, but some of these things are the things that women do. Oh, no. It's not the things that women do, but more so things that bring out more of the feminine beauty. So makeup, perfumes or oils, accessories, things that we do, like certain hairstyles, like we have all this hair, we can do so many things that will completely change our look. We can add, like if I put big hoop earrings on and slick my hair back into a tight bun on top of my head, you will really think I was Puerto Rican, but I'm not. If I split my hair down the middle and wear earrings from India that plug in here and wrap around the ears, and I put a bindi, you will definitely think that I'm Indian. So it's all of these beauty things that we'll do. And there's another word other than beauty things. I can't think of it. that has to do with, basically it's related to Juno. So it has to do with, we'll just say, feminine beauty. And there's also a relationship with health, because as we know, when somebody is very healthy, they look more beautiful. And that maybe that is just a cultural thing or a current societal thing, that we have a value around health and the look of health, like the what we think healthy looks like. So having Juno on the midheaven really brings a huge emphasis to who is your partner, and also who is your partner. So being seen as somebody who is, I almost want to say trophy wife or a trophy partner, who you are partnered with definitely changes how you look in the public eye. And so putting Juno on the midheaven definitely puts a huge emphasis on your relationships, on how you look, how you're presenting. And so also this person with Juno on the midheaven may find themselves feeling insecure or inadequate, because Juno, being the ultimate image of the fiercely committed, or no, not, yes, fiercely committed good wife. And I fiercely committed because just in general, Juno does have to do with being fiercely committed. And because it's in Aries on this chart, there is more emphasis on the fierce part. And so having all of those things put together, the person with Juno on the midheaven can feel somehow secretly inadequate, because they know and they feel, and the world has also responded in such a way, like when you go out and you look very well put together, or as one person that I know says, oh, I can tell that that woman really took a lot of time and effort in getting ready. I don't do that personally, but we notice that when somebody takes a lot of time, my daughter does that. I haven't looked at her Juno, but she takes a lot of time and effort to get ready. And when she goes out, she's a showstopper. I mean, even when she's been a showstopper her entire life. But when she does all of that, and I see her, it takes a long time to do all of that. So the world is going to respond to that woman who has taken so much effort and time in preparing to present herself. So for this person, knowing that, there may be an extra emphasis on needing to do all that preparation and somehow feeling like it wasn't enough. Because again, Aries has to do with it. I want to say immature, but it's not immature, it's young. It's a youthful energy that lacks maturity in some way. So there is an emphasis also on youthful beauty. And this person was born in 1983. So, youthful beauty when you're born in 1983 can be, it's becoming a thing. It's becoming, as, time goes on for this person, youthful beauty, um, especially on the midheaven, can become challenging. Okay, so let's now look at the transit. So this is what I was talking about over here with Venus and Juno both together near the North Node. So for all of us collectively right now, we are exploring, what does it mean to be feminine, and what does it mean to be in a committed partnership? what are we committed to? And so, like I said, with this Juno on the midheaven, being married to your work or married to the way you think people are viewing you. It gets tricky because we don't really know whatever you have on the midheaven. We don't really know how people view us. So it is tricky. And with Juno on the midheaven, we can be married to that, what we are thinking about how people see us, and we don't really know. So the best thing, if this were my chart, that I could say that I would do if this was my chart, is to, oh, it's hard to imagine that because I don't like taking time to get ready. I don't, I have a different set of circumstances. But if I did, maybe this would be something where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get ready, I'm gonna do my best, and then I'm just gonna work it from the inside and like let my beauty come out through, not, do all the things, definitely with the hair and the makeup, and definitely do all of that. And then allow my fire, my passion, because it's in Aries, to come out in everything that I do, so that that beauty is, it is anyway for you because you have it on the midheaven. It's going to be undeniable. Okay, and then over here we have Juno and Venus together on the North Node, which is getting us to question, what are my values? What are my resources? What or who am I committed to um, developing and sharing, developing resources, sharing resources, and it keeps going back to, what are my values and what is the higher potential of my capacity to cultivate wealth, to clarify what do I really value and what do I already, like, what values that I have am I already resourced with? And what is the next level? Because the North Node is always going to be taking us to the next level. What is my next step in cultivating my personal beauty, my personal values, my resources, and my commitments in relationship with who I'm sharing resources with? And resources aren't just money and food and housing. It can be also space, because it's in Taurus, the space. So my neighbors who, I don't necessarily talk to them every day. I see them every day because they walk by, and I love them. And I consider them part of my resources. And so if I'm thinking I want to get a flow beehive, I really want to get a flow beehive and put that in, I would never do that without talking to them first, even though we don't share money with each other, but we're sharing this space, the land around where we live. Although I have fertilized and planted seeds in every inch of it, I always will talk to them first. I will always ask them, hey, what do you think about this? How is my compost okay for you? How is this tree? Is it impeding your walking? I'll trim it. So resource sharing is going to go beyond just food and money. It's going to go into the land that we're sharing. It goes into the aesthetics, because Taurus also has to do with aesthetics. So I think that's all I'm going to say about that. So we've covered Juno on the chart. We covered a Juno a little bit in history. I want to just bring this book. I really had a question that I wanted to answer, and I sent screenshots of, the person was like, hey, what do you think about Juno on my chart? What does that say to you? And I started to just read it, but the person and myself have the same Juno. My Juno's at 24 Pisces, his was at 25 Pisces. And I was like, I don't want to read myself because it's always going to come out a little slightly skewed because of personal perception of what I think I know. So I went ahead and just grabbed my book, this book. It is really the Bible on the asteroid goddesses. This book is so phenomenal. I come back to it over and over. I've read the whole thing, and I continue to read it because this is what you need to talk about, to understand about yourself. And so when I went through this last night, I did get a new, like, oh, when I shared, took pictures and sent it to the person, I was like, wow, starting to see myself in a different way because the reference that it gave, let me go ahead and read the one for this chart that we're looking at. The reference that it gave for me with Juno in my 11th house was so spot on to everything, my fears, my values, some of my experiences that I've had. And the chart example they used was Angela Davis for my chart. And I love Angela Davis. And his response was, what did he say? Revolutionary love. And he put the fist up. And I was like in tears, like that is really the exact phrase that I would use for my Juno in the 11th house. So this book is a complete winner. So the charts that we're looking at here, so funny that the chart example is actress and singer Judy Garland with Juno in Aries in the 10th house, who was essentially married to her career. A top star at the age of 13, she made 34 movies within 27 years. So that's like more than one movie per year for her entire life. I don't know anything else about Judy Garland. Like, did she get married or how was her relationship? I don't know, but that might be something to investigate for you if you have this configuration on your chart. One thing that I've been really getting into is looking at people who have similar aspects to me. And this is just a side note, nothing about Juno. But I learned recently that Richard Tarnas, who is this phenomenal, like one of my idol astrologers, if I had an idol, I don't really, but who has Sun in Pisces opposite to Saturn in Virgo. I have that same signature on my chart. And so then I started looking at his chart and went back into reading his book, Psyche and Cosmos. And I'm like, oh, wow. So it can be helpful to look at people who are well known or who are well known by you, who have similar configurations, and just kind of look at, compare and contrast and kind of get some ideas to see yourself in a different way. So with that, I will end. Thank you so much for letting me look at your chart. And thank you for joining me. I look forward to connecting with you again very soon.